Hey guys, this is Matt Reeves, and this is my PowerPoint on Kohut's self-psychology theory. First wanted to look at who was Hans Kohut. He was born in 1913 in Vienna, Austria, and had Jewish ancestry. He grew up there and ultimately gained his medical degree from the University of Vienna in 1938, prior to him fleeing Nazi occupied Austria to immigrate to England and then ultimately to Chicago, Illinois. Um, his original medical specialty was in neurology, but he eventually transitioned over to psychiatry, which primarily consisted of Freudian psychoanalysis. It was also noted in some of my research that he actually briefly interacted with Sigmund Freud um, prior to escaping mainland Europe to England. Um, Kohut's clients expressed that they weren't getting as much out of psychoanalysis and his help as he had originally hoped. And instead of sticking to the standard, which was the psychoanalysis, he actually started to develop his own approach, which is where we get self psychology. Um, he utilized both Sigmund Freud and Melanie Klein's frameworks to approach his self psychology approach. What is self psychology? It's a person's sense of self or self esteem as influenced by early childhood relationships or interactions with self objects. Self objects are actually the caregiver to the young child, providing availability and support to the child, or not providing that support. There are three main self object relations, which are mirroring, idealizing, and the alter ego or twinning. Uh, First, to discuss mirroring. It's recognizing the kiddo's unique capabilities or abilities. It's kind of the look at me approach, and whether or not the kiddo gets positive attention when it comes to the look at me behaviors, or they receive the more negative interactions with the caregivers, depending on how their relationships in the future will potentially go. Uh, Moving on to idealizing, this is more the idea of having that caregiver, either the mother or the father for the son or the daughter, um, having them to idealize, to mimic, to go along with what the caregiver is providing. Um, One of the examples I found was the father and son, the son shaving with the father. Um, as they get older, the idealized caregiver, they may attempt to fill those roles through celebrity worship, or even more extremely seeking out guidance in a cult like setting. The third is the ego, sorry, or a sense of sameness with the self object or caregiver. This is where the term twinship comes in, with the caregiver showing the child and caregiver as human beings together, or humans among humans. Being able to show yourself through the self object of the parent or caregiver. Um, Empathy is the primary idea behind self psychology, and empathy is basically putting yourself in the shoes of the client. Um, Another term for empathy that Kohut used was vicarious introspection. And the therapist's role in providing this is basically uh, patients' feelings determined through past experiences. So their feelings are coming from their connection to their caregivers in their childhood. Um, in a therapeutic approach, we, as the therapist, become the self objects for the client and provide optimal frustrations, or better said, optimal responsiveness, to help the client cope with the unmet needs that they may have had from their childhood, as we are the self object for the client in the therapeutic setting. We do this and hope to build self esteem and healthy narcissism, as Kohut would refer to it. Um, Basically, building themselves up through being their self object. Self psychology in practice, an example given in the text was working with non suicidal, self harming youth clients. In this approach, what we would do is work to build up self esteem, and on top of that, help the caregivers in this approach to fill in and empathize with the struggling youth client, in hopes that we can talk through and prevent future non suicidal self harming concerns. Uh, these are the references I used. I did want to shout out the Dr. Doug PhD channel for helping me better understand the ideas behind Kohut's self psychology. He's got some really good videos on the subject that are worth checking out. All right. Thanks, everybody.